Well, I'm joined today with Don Black, who is a 25-year long-haul truck drive veteran, who is going to give us his unique perspective of a life on the road, as well as, his thoughts on how truckers have been supported through and prior to the pandemic. Hello, Don, and your wife. Hello.
Well, hello, good morning, good afternoon, I mean.
Yes, good afternoon.
So talk to me. I mean, what a life. I mean, the things that you must see while you're traveling.
Well, I see a beautiful Canada, glorious and free. That's what I seen up until the last while. We all know why, there's been a pandemic.
Hmm.
Prior to the pandemic, the reason that I'm on this interview is our Prime Minister said that we were a fringe community, terrorists. He insulted us, and that was hurtful.
Right.
And furthermore, he said how he supported us
Hmm.
through this pandemic.
Right.
Well, prior to the pandemic, it's a constant issue with truck drivers to find somewhere to park when we're tired. It
Okay.
is very, very difficult. If you're not in a truck stop by 10 o'clock, you're not parking there. So you're parking alongside of the highway somewhere.
Okay.
It's very difficult. And when the restrictions hit Canada, I was on my way home from Vancouver, my wife and I. All the washrooms were closed. There was nowhere to wash up in the morning. There was nowhere to facilitate my basic human needs that we all have,
Hmm.
let alone my desire for coffee. It was very difficult to get a coffee.
As
Okay.
everyone knows, you can't bring a large transport truck through a drive-through.
No, of course not.
So there was absolutely no support from our government. They called us heroes and they didn't allow us to use washrooms. And then so I was on my way home. I run into a buddy of mine. He had been 2.5 weeks before his first shower. Two and
Wow.
a half weeks he was in northern Canada is a huge, vast country.
Yes.
It is humongous. And when you get into the northern country, their towns are far and few between. So no showers for 2.5 weeks till he hit a terminal. He told me that I was on my way home in a personal vehicle. He told me, he said, you got to be in town before 8 o'clock at night so you can get a coffee or something to eat. If you're not in a town that doesn't have a place, you're not going to be able to eat because everything's going to close at 8.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
So I chose not to go on the road for a while. I was able to do that.
Okay.
And then I took a job locally here in Sault Ste. Marie, which I'm back on long haul. I'm a long haul driver for a local company here in the Sioux.
Hmm.
When I get back on the road, government implemented only half of the showers were allowed to be used. So there's 6 showers in a truck stop. There's still the same amount of truck drivers having to use half the showers.
Wow.
And that was due to COVID. Um, and and furthermore, one thing with truck drivers, we are away from our family.
I was just
We
going to
could
say, yeah.
We're away from our family. I miss my grandchildren. My children, well, my children are grown, but I miss them as well. I didn't get to watch my children grow up.
But he supported them every
I
day of their
had to go. I
lives.
had to go to work, and that was that. And that was what I chose to do, is to drive a truck.
Right.
And now through this pandemic, I'm standing side by side with a friend of mine, and we're loading up a truck. We're talking to each other, maskless, from different bubbles, you know, and we're not allowed to sit in a restaurant and talk to one another.
Very
That is
difficult.
one of our
So not
few.
only away from your family, but enforced isolation without even being able to socialize periodically as you might have in other times.
Exactly.
There was exactly it. There was no socialization. It's become very lonely, and honestly, we've been mandated. The government mandates when I sleep. So I have to sleep 8 hours every night, nonstop.
Right.
And throughout the day, I have to take 2 hours off duty. And my workday starts at 6 a.m. every day till 10 p.m. at night. And I sit in my truck sometimes for 2, 3 hours, just sitting there because I can no longer sleep, but I am not legally allowed to drive. So I'm just sitting there wasting my time. And I don't get paid for these hours.
Right.
I don't get paid when
Right.
the road is closed. I don't get paid if I go join a convoy in Ottawa.
So if you could make recommendations then, Don, about how the government could be more supportive of this industry that has been hailed as employing heroes, what would you recommend?
All we need is a place to park once in a while that's safe
Yeah.
with a washroom and a coffee.
Yeah.
And we're willing to buy the coffee. Back in, I don't know the exact year, it was Ontario. It was in the late 90s. The truckers protested. The Ontario government promised us parking. I'm a truck driver out of Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. I head west most of the time. The highway is open. I'm driving it. It's very scary that there's no, I could go on and on and on with the issues. What it boils down to is we have a whole bunch of truck drivers on the highway with absolutely no training, no experience trying to tackle these highways
Okay.
with vehicles that weigh 80,000 pounds plus.
So it sounds
I,
like really an industry that is hugely underestimated, both at the level of government as well as probably by the majority of people who benefit from the long hours that truck drivers put in. A very interesting perspective, which is why I wanted to reach out to you. So I really do thank you for your time, Dawn, especially given that this is your day off, to take the time to kind of share with us your experience and some pretty practical recommendations that would make it easier for the truck drivers. So thank you so much for your time today. And I look forward to hearing more from you.
well, I hope we hear from you again. And all I have to say is God keep our land glorious and free.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
In His name, thank you.